God, hi.
Hi. Where are we?
Not in Miami.
No.
I feel like the last one was in Miami, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were listening to the last episode we recorded, or we didn't listen to it, but we wanted to see which one it was. And if the records are not mistaken, I think it was in 2021, which is insane. At the end of 2021.
I can't believe I've known you for that long.
No, bro, how long?
We're
going on.
crazy.
Because we met did we meet during COVID?
Yeah. You're doing the Trader Joe's hauls.
Right. That's how we fell in love.
Yeah.
Through Trader Joe's.
Yeah. We don't have it in Canada. And Lisa,
5 years?
You would honestly do such in-depth
I know.
hauls.
I was so good
and
before.
I was like, I followed you for that reason. I would tune in every single time. Be like, Mom, it's live. Our TV show is live. Let's all watch this.
I can't believe we've been friends for 5 years.
That's crazy. You see me go through many versions of myself.
Time goes by way too fast. Okay, so I'm in Toronto
Yay.
for the weekend. We did like a little game time last minute decision, and I was like, oh my God, I literally booked my ticket 2 nights ago, and I was like, the first thing I thought of was we have to podcast. Last year when I came for your wedding, I got so many DMs. The girlies were like, did you guys record? And I was like, no. We were busy getting her married. And I was busy being the drunkest person at your wedding.
That was we had a great time.
Bro, your wedding will go down in my history books as one of the most, that weekend in general was just like.
A lot.
No, like
it's a lot.
One of the most fun weekends for me. And your wedding, I have no words.
I know.
I had
it's been a year.
So much fun. Remember when we got off of the bus, not the bus. I'm not going to disrespect it by calling it a bus because it was like
a party bus.
It was like a Mercedes bus.
It was like a party bus.
We got on the bus from the church to the venue.
Yeah.
So like it was time to party. And I had a little too much fun on that bus. And then we get off, and the first thing, Emily, because we were going to take pictures. Okay. Do you remember what the first thing you said to me was? You don't?
No. What did I say?
It was like everyone, like the whole bridal party's there. And you look at me and you're like, can you see? And I'm like, bro. You're like, can we make sure Lisa can see?
I feel like you and Lena were like,
no, we were
a time.
Bro, crazy. Okay, so we have an actual purpose for this episode. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about what we talk about best, which is dating and relationships, which is what we would talk about in our last episodes.
Yeah.
And I think it's only right we rewind it to your last heartbreak, okay? So your last heartbreak before meeting Ben.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to make our way there. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about, during that heartbreak, was there a moment where you were like, because I know that heartbreak was tough.
Yeah.
Was there a moment where you were like, wait, actually, I think this is helping me find myself. Like, I think this is giving me the direction.
I think that's the only thing that got me through the heartbreak. I reached the point where I was like, this can't be it. Like, this can't be it for
I was
me.
like, this is not it.
This can't be. Yeah, you're telling me this is not it.
For months, I'm like, it's not it. Yeah. I promise.
You kept saying, this isn't it. And I'm like, this can't be it for me.
Wait, that is really what I would say to you.
Yeah, you would. You would say,
this isn't it.
You're like, this isn't it. This isn't it. And like,
so wise.
And you would look at me being like almost like, please help. Don't like leave. And I feel like that thought of like, this can't be it for me drove me to being like, there's someone out there who's looking for me that I'm looking for. And the person that Ben is, I was searching for in so many different people. Mm-hmm. Like, he is to a T.
He's your person.
Yeah, the person that I wanted. And I think that's why it happened so quickly, because I was looking for him in so many different people. And once that clicked for me that like, this is not Ben, this is not Ben. And then when I found Ben, I was like, this is it.
Right. This is what I've been waiting for.
Which is like so simple if you think about it, right? It's like, does this feel good in my core?
Yeah.
Yes or no? No. Move on to something that feels good.
What would you say you did? It's so funny because I'm asking you these questions and I know all the answers, so I have to pretend like, but what do you think you did during that time after your last heartbreak? What did you do to prepare for the relationship truly of your dreams? Like, what would you say?
Mm-hmm. Firstly, it was just like getting into the mental state of like, if I were to meet my husband tomorrow, would he love this version of me? Do I love this version of me?
Like, do I want to date me?
Would I want to date him if he was in my position right now? You know?
Yeah.
Putting, myself in somebody else's shoes, I think that's what mentally got me there. And then the answer was no, obviously. So what do I need to do?
Obviously?
Well, I just was not in a place where if I was welcoming a healthy relationship, it wouldn't have been a healthy relationship. I was still holding on to toxic patterns, toxic thought processes. And I always knew the person I would be with would be so emotionally mature because I feel like you attract what you are.
Right.
So I feel like he would meet me where I was. And I want him to meet me, more high vibrational versus where I was sitting, which is a bit lower.
When you were in unhealthy relationships,
Yeah.
situationships, whatever we want to call them, you knew, like, did a part of you know, like, this is not my person? Or do you feel like when you were really in it, you were still so sure that it could have been your person? Or did a little part of you deep down know, like, I know that I deserve more than this?
Such a hard question.
Yeah.
Because when I was in it, I'm trying to think back to like when I was in it, I wanted it to be my person.
Right.
I wanted it to work. I wanted to be like young and in love. And my parents are high school sweethearts. So I like really wanted that for myself.
Yeah.
Especially with like my age. I'm obviously in my 30s now. And I really wanted to be with somebody in my 20s. I wanted it to be. So I think that just shows me that deep down I knew it wasn't. And I think I just convinced myself so much so that I stayed in it for too long. I know I said discernment 1,000 times today, but I think that is like so key. It's like having the discernment to realize, is this anxiety like in my head, or is this like a gut feeling and the universe, God telling me you're going in the wrong direction?
And your best friend on the phone trying to convince you to please leave this
isn't
loser man. What is something you thought was true in these unhealthy relationships that now, being in an incredible, beautiful, healthy relationship, you know is not true?
Oh, there's so much. Ben does the absolute most, guys. Like, my husband does the absolute most. I don't think I've ever complained.
No,
because he
truly,
makes
like,
me
never.
feel seen, heard, literally all the things.
Yeah.
I think, like, I really accepted the bare minimum, and I wrapped it in a bow.
Like,
and
you thought
said
that was
it was
enough.
the best. Yeah, breadcrumbing, right? Like, I was like, oh, he's too busy with work. He's too busy with family.
Excuses.
That he doesn't have the time for me, right? But it's like, no, you should be seen. You should be heard. You should be included.
Those are things that should be in a relationship as a non-negotiable, not something that you need to convince someone to give you.
100%. You
Right?
can be the most busy person in the entire world. You make time for the people that you love.
Nobody is busier than a man who does not give a fuck about you.
Seriously.
Or who is not prioritizing you.
I've never heard you say that, but it's so accurate.
Tell me, like, I am too busy for the men that I literally don't care about. If I like you, I could be writing a dissertation.
Yeah.
Trying to save America. And I will find a minute for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, think about it. I know
Yeah.
there's nuance, right? Like, I know, right? Like, sometimes we go through things. I understand that. There's nuance in every single thing that we're saying. But, like, for the most part, we can all agree. Unfortunately, it is true that if somebody wants to show up for you, they will.
That saying, if he wanted to, he would. I would always be like, that doesn't actually hold up to its statement.
Yeah.
There's so many things that, like, maybe could prevent him from it. At the end of the day, if he really wanted to, he would.
Yeah.
And you can,
bend it as many ways as you want.
Of
yeah.
course.
What is a belief you would say that you have held on to throughout all of these like unhealthy relationships that led you to Ben? Like, what is something that you were like deep down in your mind, like about Emily, that you were like, I know this to be true?
About myself?
Yeah.
I feel like I have so much love to give.
Yeah.
I had so much love to give. And I feel like the people that I was giving it to wasn't really accepting it. And I always
They weren't
knew
appreciating
that.
it.
No, and they
would accept it, but they wouldn't appreciate it or value it.
I don't think they really wanted it. To be honest, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad for me, but like you put so much into a relationship and you're not getting it in return, that I was like, the person that I want to be with is just going to accept that and be so grateful for it.
I think there's nothing harder than seeing your best friend give so much love to a man who does not deserve an inch of it.
And who doesn't really care.
Like, that shit is heartbreaking in and of itself, because there's only so many times that you can say that to somebody. And at some point, like, you have to let people do what they want to do, right? And like, if you want to give somebody another chance, like, I have to respect that, right? Obviously, as long as it's not like harmful or abusive in any way. Like, I'm not talking about that. That's a whole other story. But, to some degree, I can only say so much. But it is hard to see someone that you love stay with someone out of fear or out of, maybe they think that's what I think now, right? I have two things that I say to myself. I say, why do I think I'm worthy of this? Like, if somebody is treating me poorly, I ask myself, why do I think that I am worthy of this? Why don't I think that I deserve more?
Right.
That's the first question.
So
That's
valid.
like a really difficult question that I've been answering in the last like year or so being single. And like I was just telling Emma in the car, like I'm learning more about myself now that I'm single than when I was actually dating. Like I'm learning so much. And the other thing that I keep telling myself and that I say to my friends all the time is the love of your life would never do that to you. It's just that
So
fucking
true.
simple,
It's
honestly.
so
We try to
true.
find a justification, a little excuse. Every girl wants to be the exception. And I'm sorry, but 99% of the time you are not the exception. You're the rule. And you don't want to be the exception anyway.
No, you don't.
You know?
You don't. And it shouldn't be that hard.
That's
At the end of the
what-
day,
yeah.
it shouldn't be that hard.
So what do you say to, you know how some people say like, I hear this discourse on TikTok all the time, right? On TikTok Dating University, where some people
I
are
love it.
like, yeah, same. But some people disagree about this because they're like, well, some people say it shouldn't be that hard, right? I agree with that.
Me too.
And what I say to you, and I said this to you earlier, is I feel really lucky that I've been able to witness a lot of relationships around me, blossoming, entering in marriage, getting a divorce, breaking up, etc. I've seen it all. And something that I've learned about the relationships that I look at in my life, that I look at and I say, wow, that is something that I love. Like I would love to be in something similar. Like I really admire that relationship. None of them have been that hard. So that's why I stand on that. But then I also hear people saying like, well, they're not all that easy. Not every relationship is going to be that easy. Sometimes it takes a little bit of work. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've heard that, right?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think?
Well, I think they're both true. I think two
Yeah.
statements can be true.
You're right.
Relationships aren't easy.
No.
You know, you have this whole other human to think about and care about just as much as you. They have their own feelings, their own
Yeah.
communication styles, love languages, blah, blah, blah. It's hard. It's hard work, but it's not challenging. You know, it's not to the point where it's like, I'm forcing this to
Right.
work and make sense.
I feel like when people say it shouldn't be that hard, a lot of people take that as it's easy.
No.
And it's like, I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm just saying I shouldn't have to be anxious about the person that I'm dating every single day of my life.
No, absolutely not. You do not want to live every single day. And I have.
Yeah.
I have lived
Yeah.
years,
I know.
you know, with a pit in my stomach. And every day I'd be like, what's going to happen today? How am I going to feel today? I wake up in the morning and it's more like, I'm going to have the best day. I woke up this morning and Ben wasn't there. And I was like, I'm going to have the worst day, but then you came.
Yeah.
I just feel like relationships take work.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that hard, but it takes work,
Yeah.
you know?
Something that has been really beautiful to see from the outside is you going from a relationship that I don't think this person deserved you. You were giving your all, trying so hard to make it work and make it right and giving so much love. Then you realize like, wow, actually at the end you were like, I deserve so much more than this. I am so worthy of so much more love than what I'm given.
Yeah.
Right? How did that switch happen? I want to talk to someone who maybe hasn't been able to make that switch.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it took me a very long time. I would envision what I would want my future to look like.
Yeah.
You know, if I had this house and this family and this partner, where would I be? What would it look like? And I would envision it. And I would envision it with this person that I was with. And it didn't feel good. Like it didn't feel like things that I wanted to do.
It didn't feel right.
It didn't feel right. It didn't feel like it was seamless. It didn't feel like my family was involved. It didn't feel like their family was involved. There's just so many things that I was like, will this work? And we've put in so much time that does this still make sense for me? And then it was the matter of this can't be it. So I would journal, meditate, go my walk, say my affirmations of what I actually wanted. And then that's when it switched for me.
I want to talk about that for a second. Let's
Yeah.
talk about the things, like the little tiny little nitty gritty things that helped you during that heartbreak and during that time of like finding yourself again and truly, I know it sounds so cliche, but cliches are cliche for a reason, of you truly being like, holy fuck, I am so deserving, of you actually being like, I am so worthy, of you
Yeah.
realizing your worth. Like what were those little like things that you were doing on a daily basis?
I know a lot of people say they filled their time to keep themselves distracted. I did the opposite. I went inwards because
Which is harder. That's why nobody wants to do it.
Right. It is because it is a bit isolating and lonely. But I
Yeah.
was like, I really got to figure this out because I'm approaching the 30 mark and I really want to find my person. I want to
Yeah.
find him. I knew he was out there trying to find me too. I always say that.
Yeah.
I think it's what pushed me. I was like, I know I'm going to have such a beautiful family and beautiful life that he's out there searching for Emily and different people as well, trying to find her.
Yeah.
what I did, I think we used to call it like our toolbox.
Yeah.
Or toolkit. We used to put things
toolbox.
in it. Toolbox. Yeah. I would walk
She's such a walker.
Day.
Yep.
I would hit like 12,000 steps a day, 15,000 steps a day.
Yeah, you be walking.
I was walking because I found that walking moved around stagnant energy and negativity, and I felt so much better. I would go into nature, touch grass. Like I felt like very
It's a thing,
earthy.
actually. It's called grounding. It's a literal thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like touching grass.
Yeah, I feel like that really helped me. I journaled a lot, like a fuck ton.
We're big journaling girlies.
I journaled like crazy. I would script how I want my life to look at. Today I'm waking up and da-da-da-da-da. I would try to envision the life that I wanted. Like I would envision what my house would look like. I envision the way I would feel when I had these things. A lot of people try to like envision without emotional connection. I think the key to manifesting is feeling those feelings.
Well, I think something we do as humans is we want to make sure everything looks right, and we forget that who cares how it looks if it doesn't feel right.
Right. So true.
You know?
It's so true. And I would honestly tell myself that every single day. I would do affirmations because every day.
If someone looked at your last like situationship relationship, if someone looked at it from the outside, looked great.
Yeah.
Looked so pretty.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But how did it feel?
Awful.
Like shit.
Awful. Awful.
I'm going to send him my therapy bill as well.
Yeah, seriously. I honestly, like, I thank the Lord every single day that I went through what I went through, because I don't think it would have led me to where I am now without learning those lessons. I learned so much about myself in so many different relationships, and I think Ben has done the exact same thing. He's had relationships before me, although like I forbid him to talk about it because I'm like,
what do you mean?
Sorry,
he's never spoken to a woman before you.
Like,
what do you mean?
Dated before me? Absolutely not.
No.
But we've learned so much about ourselves, and I think that's what allows us to show up for each other the way we do now, because there's been so many relationship and life lessons.
I want you to talk about when you guys met, because it was quick.
So fast.
Things moved quick, but it made so much sense.
Yeah.
And it felt so right. And the progression was so natural. So I almost just want you to talk about it, because I want people to also be able to hear a story of like, when it's meant to be, it's fucking meant to be.
Yeah.
And nothing can get in the way of that.
I feel like I've always said that to you.
Yeah, always.
We've always talked about that.
We've always said to each other, like, if it were meant for me, it would work out for me.
It would never pass me by.
But in anything, if it's a business opportunity, if it's a friend, if it's a man, it doesn't matter what it is. We're always like, oh, wasn't meant to be.
Yeah. I always said too, like, he's going to find me the way that he needs to find me. He can DM me. He can meet me at a coffee shop, a library, whatever you want to make up. He's going to find you regardless of what it is. But also,
I feel that too, but like, I need to start leaving my house because
or not. You know? I was going to say, make sure you answer your DMs, because that's where I found my husband, in my DMs. He literally, do you want me to tell you the story?
Yeah, tell the story,
okay.
Tell the story.
I met the man in my dreams. It was the beginning of the year, and I got this DM. And like, I'm sure everyone that's listening to this gets a DM or two here and there.
My DMs are wide open.
I never answer them. Like, this was like the era of like guys sliding into your DMs.
Yeah, you really never answered DMs.
Oh my gosh, I never answered DMs. And then I got this DM from this man, and he was like, hate to start the new year with a DM slide.
I didn't know that's what he said.
He said, but you're stunning.
Oh my God, I love
2 Gs.
2 Gs?
Yeah.
Not the 2 Gs.
So I didn't answer. I think it was like the next day. I think it was with a girlfriend. And I was like, look at this guy just DM'd me. And she's like, just answer. Just be like, aha, thank you. And I think I did. I was like, aha, thank you. We had banter back and forth for like a hot second. And then she gave me the advice to just kill the conversation. She's like, just kill it. If he's interested, he'll like try harder. Which is like awful advice, but I listened.
I mean, yes and no, because if you're just
like 3 texts.
If you're just bantering and nothing is happening, then yeah, at some point it's like, if you want to ask me out, ask me out.
Yeah. I think if there was nothing going on, I think she's like, just double tap it. So I did. I double tapped it. And then he unfollowed me off Instagram.
Oh, right. I remember this.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he got butthurt. That's hilarious. Then like 3 days goes by, and he messages me on Hinge. But he said something that I said. I think I called him bold when he DM'd me. I was like, wow, that's a bold statement for New Year. He messaged me on Hinge being like, bold. And I was like, okay, universe, I hear you.
Yeah, you're
this
like,
man's important to me. Okay, I get it. So we went back and forth, and he said something that sparked my attention. He was like, oh, I'm just like on a flight reading this book. And I was like, oh, he reads books. The bar is so
in hell, though. Oh my God, he knows how to read.
I was like, oh, he likes books.
What?
Yeah, I was so impressed. I was so
I mean, I would be too, honestly.
Oh my god, just rough. Fuck. So then he asked to go for drinks, and usually I like to talk to somebody like for a couple days before I go on a date with them. But he was like, it's just like, oh, let's go for drinks. Like Ben was a dater. Like
he knew what he wanted.
He loved a date.
He knew what he wanted.
I agreed to it, which is so shocking.
You didn't want to go on that date.
Oh,
we were on FaceTime for like an hour, and you were like, "Oh, I'm tired. Like I don't want to go." And I'm like, "Just go. You never know what could happen. Like just go.
My sister and you were pressuring me.
Yeah, you didn't want to go at all.
I was like, I would be okay if he canceled.
Yeah, you're like,
well, also he wanted to pick me up.
Yeah,
which I was like, he's gonna kill me. He's gonna find where I live.
Meanwhile, he was just a gentleman who wanted to literally walk to your door. But
also, I was a bit insecure about it because I was living at home.
I remember. Yes.
And I lied to him. I think, yeah, he knows that. I lied to him. I was like,
if not, he knows.
Oh, I'm just at my parents' for the night, but like, if you want to pick him up, you can. And I feel like you were like, let him pick you up. Yeah. And I was like, no, he's gonna be a serial killer.
Well, I think we also knew, we like cross-checked that he was not a serial killer.
Right. Yeah,
so it was okay.
We did. Although I thought he was a promoter.
And I was like, well, if he's gonna do something, at least your parents are there.
That's even worse.
Well, they can help. Imagine if you're alone.
Yeah. True.
You know, Abby was there.
But I was like, what if he comes back to
there.
murder me? And my parents are sleeping.
Well, we took a risk and it paid off.
It did. Thank gosh.
Yeah.
He pulls up and he gets out of his car and I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna murder me.
Yeah, he's gonna kill me.
He gets out of his car and he opens the door for me at the bar. The bar's literally an hour.
You're like, that's it.
I was like, I'm done.
Yep.
It's my husband. He like took me to this like really cool cocktail bar, like really vibey place. And I think that's where the first green flag was. I was like, oh, like I'm a foodie.
Yeah.
He obviously
you
is
love
as well.
to catch a vibe.
Yeah. We both love to catch a vibe.
Yeah.
We caught a vibe. We love to catch a vibe. We were there for like 5 hours maybe until the bar closed down.
I remember not getting a text at all for so long, and I'm like, it's either going really well or she's dead.
Yeah.
Oh no, not really. But then after the date, you were like, I think I'm in love.
I said to you, I think I met my husband. And I said, my mom the next morning.
No, you said that to Abby. To me, you were like, I think I'm in love.
Oh, really? Yeah, I said to Abby, I was like, I think I met my husband. Mom was like, how did your date go? This is like in the morning because I got home at like 3 a.m.
You're like, great, I'm married.
I was like, yeah. I was like, I think I met my husband.
Yeah.
I knew. I don't know what it was. I had like such a strong gut feeling that was my husband. I think when I saw him, when he got out of the car, maybe I was blinded by his height, but I was like, I think I'm going to marry this man. Yeah.
So crazy.
Isn't that crazy? Then we went, well, he wanted to go on a date the day after. And my other girlfriend was like, no, the dating rules are like, you have to ignore
Spread them
him.
out.
Yeah.
I would have said that actually too.
Yeah. I said no because I listened to her again. And then he was like, I feel like you're not interested really. Like I was giving that vibe to him. And then, yeah, we've been like inseparable since.
Literally ever since.
Yeah.
So that's just, I think, such a beautiful example of like when something is meant to happen, it's going to happen. You did not have to, you know how we hear all these rules and everything on TikTok?
So many rules.
And it's like, tell me which rule you had to abide by. None, because
I didn't.
You never once, and I always say this, never once did you have to screenshot the text to be like, what do I say? What do I do? I'm feeling weird about this. Never. Like everything was so clear. There was never a game being played by either one of you. It was all so truly like perfect.
To that point though, I think that energy comes from him. Because I feel like a lot of, the relations that we see now and that we talk to like all of our friends, the anxiety comes because like, I don't know what to say. What does this mean? Yeah. I don't feel good about this, but that energy comes from your partner.
Right.
Whereas Ben never let me feel that.
Yep.
I remember so clearly. This is like our third date, maybe before our third date. He calls me. I'm like, ugh, what? Like, without a warning?
Yeah, what?
Why are you calling me?
Yeah.
I was like so caught off guard. I'm like, hello? And he was like, now that I know him, it's just so funny. He was like, hey, so like how's like small talk? And then he's like, so I got to tell you something. And like I just want to be like very honest with you. And I'm like, oh my God, like it's ending? I'm so confused. I just thought I met my husband.
Oh God, I forgot about this.
Yeah. He was like, I just got to tell you something, there was like this.
Somebody reached out to him,
yes,
right? Yep.
Someone reached out to him like an old fling.
Like imagine.
And he was like so scared that
you would find
out.
I
would find out and that it would ruin the relationship that we were starting, that he literally called me and told me. He did not have to tell me. He could have just said no and like moved on. Not only did he say no, but he called me to tell me about it. And he's kept that energy in our relationship. And it's not because I'm like overbearing or need to know. He's just like, I would want to know this.
Well, also, I just think it goes down to he would never put himself in a position to potentially lose you.
Yeah.
And you are the same.
Yeah.
And so you guys, it's just a match.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Cancer men.
It's been crazy to see how, like, honestly, to see you going through such a rough moment with dusty ass losers who did not deserve you whatsoever, to then truly being in one of the most beautiful relationships that I've seen, that I'm like, this is what you deserve. Like, this is what we were waiting for. Like,
I can't wait to see that for you, though. Like, I feel like I've seen you go through all the versions of yourself. Yeah. And, like, learning all the versions of yourself.
Bro, I've been so many versions of myself.
Yeah, and I feel like I've seen so many. Yeah. But me too.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think when I do fall in love for you, it's going to be, it's not weird in a good way.
I don't know that, Lisa.
No, I don't either.
I can't wait.
I don't know that either.
I can't wait.
I know.
And I honestly feel like when you find your person and it starts to, like, click,
I think it'll be quick, too.
I think it'll be quick.
Because I'm at the point where I know what I want. Yeah. I played the game for a long time. I'm retired from the games. Yeah. And it took me a long time. And I think for a long time, I wasn't ready, even though in the back of my head, I was like, I love the idea of a relationship, but I'm not ready. Like, I know that now.
But why?
I think, why wasn't I ready?
Oh, I thought you said you're not ready now.
No. I feel ready now.
Okay,
yeah. It scares me.
Yeah.
Right? But I do feel ready now. But it does scare me a lot. But I just think that...
Scares you because of what?
Well, I just think I've never been in love with someone. So it right.
But
like
that should be exciting.
I'm more excited than I am scared.
Yeah.
I think the only part that scares me is just loving someone so much. Yeah. Because I love so hard.
Right, you do.
That scares me, but that scares me with anything. Right. I think as someone who's experienced a lot of loss, loving anything or anyone is very scary to me because I always know it comes with the potential of I might lose this person, right? And that's not like a great way to live, but it's always just a little fear. Right. Like I think about it with my dog. I think about it with everyone that I love. I'm just like, oh, I love you so much.
I think it's just about like quieting that for sure. Negative self-talk.
Yeah. And actually, this is a perfect segue because I would love to end talking about like just a few lessons that we've learned in dating or like mistakes that we've made. Oh, I have a literal list.
Let me like think about this.
So I can start if you want.
Sure.
I think one of the biggest ones for me is I think for a long time in dating, I was being such a hypocrite because I wanted connection. I wanted vulnerability. I wanted, commitment. I wanted more, but I wouldn't give any of that.
Right.
So I'm expecting things that I'm not giving, and then I'm upset when they're not giving it to me. Right. But like they're just mirroring me at this point. And then I start playing a game. Well, they're going to play the game too if I'm playing the game, right? Like I was expecting things that I wasn't giving whatsoever. And I knew that I wasn't giving it. And so I think one of the biggest things for me that I've learned is like a relationship takes two people. It's the same way that I talk about it in friendship. Like to have a great friend, you have to be a great friend. Right. And if I want a beautiful relationship, I have to show up that way. And that does require a degree of vulnerability. And that's something that has really felt uncomfortable for me for a long time because it's like this fear of, oh my gosh, like if I show you all of me, like, are you going to stay? I've never let a man really get there. And now I'm like, now I've finally understood and accepted that I do deserve that. Why don't I think I deserve that? Like why do I not think I'm worthy of something like that? And if I don't give all of me to someone, how am I going to expect them to give all of them to me?
Right. You attract what you are.
Totally.
Right. So if you're non-committal I guess that is hypocrisy.
Yeah. 100%.
That's nice that you can, you see that though.
Well, I think I wanted control over closeness.
Oh.
Yeah. Like I wanted to make sure everything was okay. I feel safe like this. Right. I feel safe right now. You're not coming into my life too much. And I can detach at any point if I feel like you're about to detach because I'd rather be the one. Right. It's a lot of ego.
Yeah.
So much ego.
You loved a man in a different city.
I loved a man in a different city because there's a literal physical barrier.
Right.
Or I loved a man who there was something there that I know was going to make it not work. Right? Because in the back of my mind, even if they were great men or not, I knew like this isn't my person.
Right.
And I've known it all along.
Yeah.
Like I think there was only one who I really, really liked and I could have seen more with.
Right.
But I acted like a menace. You know, I acted like a fool.
It's a learning lesson.
And it was the biggest learning lesson for
Yeah.
me because I started playing a game with him and then he started playing it right back. And any chance that we had of me actually opening up, of me actually saying what I wanted, of me actually saying like, hey, actually, like, I don't want us to talk to other people, or I'm actually not talking to other people, or making little comments about my roster and all this shit. Like, I would do that because it's a defense mechanism, right? If you think I'm not that into it, then you can't hurt me.
Yeah.
But deep down, I was thinking about this man all day and night.
But he had no idea.
Yeah.
He's thinking this girl's just playing the field.
Well, and
set that into me.
There were a few moments where I was a little bit drunk and I would like have a moment. And I think in those moments he was like, I know this bitch likes me.
Yeah.
You know, but then the next day I would go back to being like, I don't care. You know?
Yeah.
What about you? Give me one lesson.
I was such a fool for this. And I hope anybody that listens to this like really takes it what I'm saying. But you have to pay attention to the person that this partner is right now and not fall in love with the potential of. And I think I was obsessed with being like, but he could be. But it could be.
We love a project as women.
We love a project.
Like, we love a DIY.
I always said that. I was always like, but this could be. And I feel like once I got over the like, okay, but right now.
Yep.
Does this feel good right now? Are you okay to marry the man that's in front of you right now? If the answer is no, you have to accept that this could potentially be the only version you ever see of him.
You know what doesn't make sense to me is why we don't accept certain things from the friends that we keep, but we accept those behaviors from the people that we're dating.
Such a good question.
Like, if you wouldn't let one of your friends do this to you,
and I would
why
never.
Would you let a man do this to you?
Yeah, it's so interesting.
I think something also that I was thinking about when you were saying the potential is putting people on pedestals is so dangerous. And this is a lesson I've learned in dating as well, because there's so many reasons why it becomes muddy to do this. But for the most part, it's when you put somebody on a pedestal, you then are completely removing the option for them to be human.
Yeah.
And then in any moment where they do act human and let you down as any human would, you know, like it feels 10 times heavier and you're just idolizing, again, the potential of someone because you're projecting. That's not who they are.
No.
And it's not, I think it also creates this like weird power imbalance as well.
It really does.
Where you feel like I'm like almost not worthy of this person. Like, why are they interested in me?
That position is so detrimental to a relationship.
I don't want any pedestals.
The imbalance of a relationship being like, I'm not deserving of this. That is like the scariest place you could be because now this person holds power over you. I think that I was once in that position and I don't think I've ever felt that way with my person. So if you're in a situation where like maybe you feel like there's toxicity or like, I don't know if this is right for me, you really got to take a step back and be like, is this my anxiety talking or is this my gut feeling and it's telling me this is not working?
Yeah.
The answer usually is it's not working because I've never, ever, ever felt that way with Ben. I've never felt like maybe this isn't right for me. But I can tell you I've had those thoughts a lot with past relationships.
I also feel one of the biggest lessons I've had to learn in dating is understanding that testing someone is not fair whatsoever.
No.
And what I mean by this is I think I realized that this is another one of my realizations that I had is I would test sometimes like this guy that I really liked, I would test him and sometimes it was unconscious, right? Like I wasn't purposely waking up like I'm going to test this guy today and see if he like passes. I wasn't doing that. But in a way, it's almost like I'm going to push and see or pull away just to see if you're going to fight for me or see if you're going to walk away or see. It's like, why are you doing that? Like that is something I'm not going to do in the next relationship. Like I don't think that should even have to be a thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. I would say another one for me is I wasn't open to listening to the people who love me most on their, let's say, I don't want to say criticism, but like their viewpoint, perspective on the relationship.
It's so hard when you're in it, I think.
It is,
Yeah.
for sure. But I
Yeah.
think, like, if you can't have discernment for yourself, then you gotta rely on the people who you trust the most. And then I will always say, like, don't take advice from someone you wouldn't want to trade places with.
100%.
But if there's someone that you would want to trade places with, and they're telling you, hey, I don't think this is right for you, I would really take that seriously. Because I wish I did, and that would have saved me so much time. And maybe I could have met Ben sooner. Maybe not. I don't know.
Everything
You never know
happens when it has to happen. I think.
also believe that too.
Yeah.
But I feel like it would have saved me a lot of heartache that didn't really need to happen.
Yeah.
If I listened to you, my sister, my mom, whatever it was, telling me like, hey, this is feeling like it's not the one.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest lesson.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many. I also think something that I've learned, not so much with myself, but more so with people around me, is two great people don't necessarily make a great relationship. And that one, I think, is a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. I think a lot of people confuse chemistry. I've done this. I've confused chemistry and height with compatibility. But I really do think a lot of people think that just because there isn't this huge problem, no one cheated, or, you know, not this like glaringly problem staring you down and like staring at you, that it can work.
Right.
And it's like, sure, it probably could if you like work at it that like hard enough. Like you can make anything work if you're like forcing it, but then you're in something that you're forcing.
You wouldn't be happy at the end
Right.
of the
Like,
day.
right. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, I think sometimes we have to understand that. I know it's harder to walk away from someone when there isn't like something, you know, so explicitly wrong. But if you feel, I think, and tell me what you think, but I think if you feel like, is this it? If you feel like, you know, I think there could be a beautiful relationship for me out there, and I don't know if it's this one. Like, even if you have those thoughts, like you have never had those thoughts.
No.
Right.
Never.
So if you have those thoughts, just the fact that you have those thoughts, don't you think that's telling?
100%. 100%. If I can go back in time and be like, how many times did I think like that?
Yeah.
To where I am now, those are little flags being like, hello, this is your gut talking to you. Like, you need to step away for yourself.
I also think people, and I'll speak on this because I literally have an anxiety disorder. And I think sometimes in dating, I have used my anxiety as a scapegoat when in reality, I just didn't want to address the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room was, this is literally not my guy, right? Like I'd be like, well, I don't think it's him. I think I'm just being a little anxious. I don't think it's him. I think it's just me that has to work on my, no, bitch. Like there are certain people that will like bring that out more. And I know that happens to me with friends as well. There's people that just make me feel more anxious and fill me up with more anxiety, or make me feel more insecure, or make me have to feel like I have to overthink and like whatever. I think we always know as women.
I think so too. We have such strong gut feelings.
Yeah.
Just gotta listen to it a little bit more.
Right. And then I think my last lesson is one that I work on all the time, and one that you and all my bestest friends yell at me for, but it's understanding that my hyper independence it's so shady, first of all, because it kind of tricks you into thinking that you're protecting yourself, right? Because if I do everything, then no one can let me down.
Right.
If I don't let people in, then they can't let me down.
Right.
If I don't tell people what I'm going through and maybe they can't be there for me, they can't let me down. But at the end of the day, I think I'm learning so much about hyperindependence as a whole and why it happens. And I'm learning that it comes from a trauma response. So you become hyperindependent when you have been let down many times and you feel like, I just need to take matters into my own hands, right?
I get it.
The problem is if you don't notice that you're doing it, I feel like you're never going to let someone in fully.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that's my biggest one right now, because I've worked on the worthiness so much, like finally being like, okay, I like myself. I think I am worthy of it, right? Like some days my brain likes to play with me, but like for the most part, I feel like a different person in that regard. I think the last thing that I really need to just work on every single day is just accepting that I can be independent and I can be interdependent, and that means maybe people are going to let me down. It's not the end of the world. It's going to be fine, but I have to put the walls down.
I was going to say, to that point, when you let someone in,
Yeah.
one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to learn a really good lesson,
Yeah.
or you're going to find something really beautiful.
Right.
And both things are beautiful.
I always say if it's not love, it's a lesson.
If it's not love, it's a lesson.
And my therapist called me out on this once because she was like, wait, we were talking about, you know, a guy, and I was telling her my chaotic behaviors that I was doing. And she was like, hold on. She clocked me so fucking fast in this moment. She was like, remind me what it is that you want again, in this tone. Okay. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, what do you want? Like, what do you want? You want a relationship? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, and you think the things that you're doing and the way that you're acting is bringing you closer to a relationship?
Yeah.
She's like, it's bringing you closer to a relationship, but not to the relationship that you want. And I was like, actually, my Wi-Fi is cutting off.
I gotta go.
I think, yeah, my wife.
That's so powerful. That's so powerful. I think that if you take that mentality in any type of relationship that you have, even like a platonic one, it's powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful.
Do you think I'm doing better at that?
I think you're doing so.
Really?
Yeah, I think you're doing so well. I think like the first point you made of, you know, wanting something that you weren't giving.
Yeah.
I think that switch alone.
Yeah.
Is going to make all the difference.
Right. Because it's like, I can do it with my friends. Why can't I do it with a man?
Of course.
Like, I show my friends exactly who I am.
Yeah.
Like, my close friends, I show them my heart entirely.
Yeah.
And I'm safe.
Yep.
I'm not in danger.
And we're not saying to do this to everybody.
No, not everyone deserves to experience this. Like, you know what I mean?
Of course.
But
it's just
like,
the ones you're connecting with.
In my head, I'm like, that's something else I've had to like put together. It's like, I've done this before.
Right.
And like, look at what it gives me.
Right.
So why are you not doing it in other ways? Like, it doesn't make sense.
I think it's harder for some people and easier for others. Obviously,
For sure.
It's harder for you. It's for me. I like,
Yeah.
Everybody look at me, you know, like I'm
No,
easy.
you were born a lover girl.
I was born a lover girl. I
Yeah.
really was. But I am so proud of you for being able to even like make that switch.
Yeah.
Because I definitely, obviously, I've seen those patterns in
Yeah.
past relationships. So I'm excited to see like where the next guy,
I know.
the next person you date, and like where it takes you.
I know. How
That'll be our
scary.
next episode.
I know. Okay, how do we wrap up? What are our last thoughts? THOTS.
My last thought is that I don't think you should go back to Miami.
I love it here. And
know.
honestly, Canada never wants me to leave because something always happens with my flight going home.
Yeah, her flight always gets canceled
Always.
or
Delayed.
Delayed.
The flight after your wedding was delayed like 5 hours.
I thought it got canceled first.
It got, I think it
No,
was delayed and then it was canceled and I had to buy an entirely new ticket because I was like, I'm not waiting 12
No, you
hours.
bought two just in case.
Like,
yeah.
Bro, I was prepared. Like prepared.
That's so funny. Okay, final thoughts.
Yeah, I think
I would say the biggest lesson that I've had that I want everyone to take away is really lean into your gut feeling because it's so powerful. It's your guiding point. If it's telling you to go left, go left. If it's telling you to go right, go right. And I wish I listened to my gut a little bit more.
same. And the thing is, stop lying to yourself too, because we know at the end of the day, we can make all the excuses, but like, you know, at the end of the day, if you sit with yourself and truly ask yourself, like, is this a relationship of my dreams? Yes or no? If it's not a fuck yes, it's a no. It's literally that simple sometimes.
You always used to tell me that.
Bro, it's so true.
It's not a fuck yes, it's a no.
I think that's a perfect way to end
That's
this.
a perfect way to end
Okay.
it.